Hello, YouTube and TikTok world. Thanks for tuning in. If this is your first time or you haven't already, why don't you go and like and subscribe and share this page with somebody. This is a page that just encourages people in their faith. Maybe if you don't know Jesus, helps you get to know him. And also a lot of times we'll talk some sports trash talk. And so like and subscribe and enjoy the show. Today we are going to be talking about the topic of gossip. I don't know if you've ever played the game telephone. In school, you played the game telephone where you whisper one thing and that person's supposed to change one word, and that person's supposed to change one word, and that person's supposed to change one word in the sentence. And by the time that you get to the end of the sentence, it's something totally different. We used to laugh and have a good time with that. But it was to get to the point of when you gossip, a lot of stuff gets lost in the transition of what was truly said. And that's not the only definition of gossip there, but that I think that's a good picture of it. Why I want to talk about gossip today is because I believe one of the biggest threats to the church is gossip. A lot of times we think it's outside things that the world is doing, ideologies and different sins and different things that our leaders make choices on, and a lot of times we think that is the thing that's going to hurt the church. But if you really think about it, those things have been going on for centuries upon centuries, and evil is going to go on until Jesus returns for us, and we're in heaven with him. Those things are outside things. The body of Christ can withstand all those things and thrive. Actually, the church has actually thrived under more tyranny than it has when it's been in the peaceful age. But the thing that destroys a church the most is gossip. That's one of the things that destroys it the most is gossip. And Proverbs puts it this way. I want to read some verses here in Proverbs. Proverbs says this: a perverse person stirs up conflict, and a gossip separates close friends. That's Proverbs 16:28. Proverbs 11:13 says this: a gossip betrays a confidence, but a trustworthy person keeps a secret. A gossip betrays a confidence, so avoid anyone who talks too much. James even puts it this way. James says our tongue is like a spark, a small fire, and if it's used for the wrong things, it can destroy, it can burn down things. And so it says choose your words carefully, choose how you talk carefully. And so in the church we got to be careful. It's hard though, because I believe, and I'll speak for myself, all of us are attracted to gossip. I mean, think about it. When a story comes out, about a celebrity or a musician, or you see something on your Facebook and you start to look at all the articles about it, and it's about that person's life, and you're like, oh man, and then you go tell somebody else, that's gossip. It's a gossip about somebody you don't really know, but it's gossip. Or I remember, I remember in school when you hear different people talking about something, you're like, oh man, is this going to go down? What's happening here? But the problem with the gossip is a lot of times it's coming from a point of view of somebody who is hearing something secondhand, or who has a grievance against something. And so in the church, gossip is a very interesting thing. Gossip is talking about other people, maybe hearing about something that you heard they're going through, and you are interested in it, and you're in a room and you want to talk about it, and so you go in the form of, I have a prayer request, and sister so and so, and they never gave you permission, but you want people to know what you know about somebody. That's gossip. Or a lot of times in church, especially during the YouTube era and social media era, it's come to people come into church and they gossip about leadership, or they gossip about different the way a church handles different things. Maybe it's spiritual gifts, maybe it's different Bible doctrine, that how they handle it, and maybe the other person has a different point of view, and so they're like, I think this, and instead of coming in unity with the body of what's going on, maybe having a different opinion but still following, they say things like, well, I'm concerned about blah blah blah, And instead of ever talking to leadership or coming to an agreement with their church, they instead, in a concern, talk about things and stir up disunity. Stir up disunity because gossip brings distrust into possible leadership and friendships and close people. And so we have to be careful to not get caught up in this cycle of gossip. Outside what the world does, that doesn't disunify a church. What disunifies a church is when a church chooses to gossip and talk. Nothing stops a move of God more than gossip. Why? Because it sidetracks us from what God's trying to do and puts us in all these little things, and nobody knows what's true at that point anymore. Everyone's like, oh, well, I think that's true. Well, I think that's true. And then we go into a church and we look at our friends differently. We look at maybe leaders differently. All because a word was spread that should have never been spread. And so there's different forms. We do it face to face. A lot of times it's text messages, maybe text threads, maybe DMs. And so we must be careful of gossip because God's wanting to move in our churches, but we have to protect ourselves from that. And so I want you to write in the comments, how do you avoid gossip? What does it look like to avoid gossip when you're hearing it? It's hard. Let's be honest. It's hard. When you're in it, you hear something. I should respond to that. I should say something to that. What do you do when you hear gossip? How do you respond to it properly? Maybe let's help each other out. What are some ways that have been effective for you? In the comments, write it down. What has been effective for you to avoid and put a stop to gossip? Two things I can think of right off the top of my head is one, when you hear gossip, shut it down. Say, hey, we shouldn't be talking about this. That's gossip. And the whoever you're talking to, maybe if it's a group, if it's one other person, they have the choice to keep going with somebody else. But you're saying yourself, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to participate in the gossip. The second thing is if the gossip's going, avoid it. The Bible even says avoid somebody who talks too much. Avoid someone who talks too much. If you're hearing a lot of gossip from the same people, walk away from that. Don't engage in that. Uplift. Change the subject. Change the subject to something different. Say, hey, we're going to talk about something different now. And put a lifestyle of that. It's hard because I really believe that we have a lot of in our world in general, and even in the Christian world, I believe we've let gossip be such a normal thing that a lot of times we don't even realize we're gossiping. And so be aware and do your part. Have a great day, and we will see you next time. Thanks for watching.